Do you want to know how to play the rolling trash can known as Darryl? Well, I'm going to teach you why he's really more of an assassin and how to use him really well. Okay, I feel like Darryl is one of the most requested brawlers that people want a guide for, so I wanted to give you guys my best tips on how to play Darryl, and I'm also going to tell you the best game modes to push Darryl in and get easy trophies. Now, quickly, before I do that, I want to go over some basic knowledge that you need to know about Darryl. First of all, he's sort of a tank-ish brawler, but as far as his health ranks, he is actually the 5th highest health in the game, but as far as compared to other tanks, he has about 1,000 to 1,500 less health than them. So even though he is fairly high on the board, he's not quite near those super high health guys. As far as damage goes, he can actually deal a really high amount of damage per shot if you hit all of your shots. Darryl has 2 barrels, each one fires 5 shells, and if all of them hit, he can almost deal 3,000 damage, a little bit under, which is actually more damage than Bull can do with 1 shot. So the potential for Darryl is actually really high, but honestly, it's pretty hard to get all of those shells to hit. You're more likely to deal something about 2,000 damage to maybe a little under 2,500 is much more likely. Unless you're attacking a box or you're really right on top of someone and you can have all of your shells hit. As far as reload speed goes, his reload speed is a little bit on the slower side. It's about 1.8 seconds. You compare the two, say Bull, who has a reload speed of 1.6, or Shelly, who has a reload speed of 1.5. Now, Darryl's super has a range of 7 tiles. It doesn't do that much damage, only 560 at max level, but if you do hit them, it's definitely helpful as it does knock them back momentarily. Now, his star power is really important. It reduces the damage he takes every time he rolls by 30% for 3.5 seconds, which is super important for him as a close-range brawler, allowing him to really have that more of a tank-like feeling. Even though he only has 5,600 health, if you have that star power, when you are rolling in, it will feel like you are really of that tank status with a really high health. Now, the other thing to know about Darryl's super is it does charge automatically over time. If you are not dealing damage to anyone at all, it will automatically charge in 20 seconds, so 5% every second. If you are dealing damage to people, though, that will also charge it, and of course charge it faster, but it will always be charging as long as it's not all the way charged. Now, I'm going to tell you the best game modes and the best maps to get trophies with Darryl in, but first, I got to tell you the most important thing to know with Darryl and why I think he's really an assassin, and he's super strong if you know how to play him correctly. Honestly, Darryl is a brawler where the individual matchup you have between the enemy you're facing is very important, and you have to know what brawlers you want to attack and what brawlers you want to avoid. Some of them are going to be really good matchups for Darryl and you want to attack them every single time, but some of them are going to be a little bit more difficult, and some of them are going to be ones you want to always avoid. So I'm going to tell you that now, and what matchups you want to go for, and how to deal with every single brawler as Darryl. Now, in general, for these matchups, I'm going to be pretending you are a max player with star power. If you don't have star power, just keep in mind that those really high health guys are going to be a little more difficult to kill because it's going to take you more shots, and the really high damage ones are also going to be a little bit more difficult to deal with because of course they will kill you a little bit faster. In general, the way you want to play with Darryl is you want to do some chip damage to enemy brawlers to help build up your super, and then once you have your super, you want to go after these people who are really easy targets for you. And the other option is to go after people, if they're not an easy target, you can still go after them if they are around medium to low health. Anytime there's any brawler that's medium to low health, they're almost always a good option, except for a few situations. But that's how you want to play Darryl. That's why he's this rolling assassin. You get your super, and then you go and jump right in, and they cannot do much to stop you, especially if you can hit them with your super. That's a really important thing. If you hit them with their super, not only are you going to deal a small amount of damage, but you're also going to stun them for a brief moment, allowing you to stop their attacks, and you take less damage, and you can deal even more damage. On top of that, that also means you're going to be right next to them, which makes it even easier to do more damage per shot. So here are going to be brawlers that you want to go after every time you see them if you have your super. Dynamite, Poco, Bo, Ricochet, Brock, and Frank. Even if you don't have your star power, if you get a direct hit, it should be a really easy matchup for you to go ahead and get that kill. Maybe if Poco uses super, it might take you too much time to kill them before some teammates come over to help out, but you should be able to get the kill in most of these situations. But there are going to be some brawlers that are going to be easy to kill, but not if they have their super. If they have their super, you gotta watch out for these brawlers, but if they don't, you should go ahead and roll on in on these brawlers. That's going to be Jesse, Tara, Barley, Piper, Crow, and Penny. And I think Crow and Piper make a lot of sense why you don't want to go in on those brawlers if they have their super. Of course, they're just going to jump away. But brawlers like Penny and Jesse are going to be pretty difficult to go ahead and super in on because they can go ahead and place that turret down. And that turret usually has a good amount of health that's going to block you from dealing damage to them. Of course, Jesse's will also deal a good amount of damage to you. Penny's might not because you're going to be running around probably, but it's still going to block you from not only dealing damage but charging up your next super, which you could use to roll away or deal more damage, whatever you choose. Tara, that super is going to stop you and deal damage and add on something for you to kill another 2,000 health. That's going to either block you or attack you either way. So that is going to be a difficult one. Probably don't want to super that Tara if she has her super. Barley can be sort of hit or miss. If Barley has super, you can still get that kill if you go in, especially if you get a direct hit, but you might end up taking a lot of damage, and depending on how it plays out, it might put that super in between you and the Barley, and you can't finish the Barley off because it's just that super's in the way. So it sort of depends on the situation, but you can still go after it, and it might just be a little bit difficult. Now, some other brawlers are going to be sort of like medium difficulty for you to super in and get that kill. Now, one brawler is Nita, and if Nita has her super, you are gonna be like, you do not want to go in. That's all I'm gonna say is do not go in on Anita if she has her super. If she doesn't have her super, you can go in. But if that bear is up, that bear has just way too much health, gonna completely block you and deal damage to you, and you will probably die unless you can roll away. But if she doesn't have super, you can get that kill, especially if you get a direct hit. But Nita does have a really fast reload speed, so it will not be easy. Spike can deal a lot of damage, so if you don't have star power, Spike might be kind of hard to go in on. But if you get a direct hit, you definitely can do it. You might just be a little bit low health afterwards. Same with Colt, especially if you don't have star power. If Colt doesn't star power though too, he can sort of run away a little bit faster, so he can sort of put some distance between you. But if you get a direct hit, you should get that kill on Colt. Now, Mortis is one of those brawlers where you can super in on him and you probably won't waste it, but you might not get the kill because he can dash away from you somewhat easily. The other thing he can do is if he's attacking you with his dashes, he might make you miss some of your shots. He might make you deal less damage, so you may be able to go ahead and deal some damage to him, but you might not get that kill. Now, there are some brawlers that are really hard difficulty for you to get that kill, and I'm gonna say do not super in on these brawlers unless they are like medium to low health. That's gonna be Shelly, Pam, Bull, Leon, and El Primo. Some of these brawlers I'm gonna actually say just like don't super in on at all. Like Shelly. Shelly's gonna be one of those brawlers. If Shelly has her super, she will always destroy you, even if she is like medium health. If she's low health, you might be able to get away with it, especially if you get that knock, like the stun, you hit her with it. Bull, never super in on Bull unless he's like medium to low health. He just does way too much damage, and it's just too much health as well. Pam, similar situation. Pam has a lot of health and does a lot of damage at close range. And if Pam has her turret, she's gonna heal up, and it's just not gonna work out. And she might even use that turret to like block you from dealing more damage. Leon, you can maybe go in on Leon if you get a direct hit, because Leon does a ton of damage at close range, but he doesn't have a lot of health. So if you get a direct hit on Leon, you can get that kill, but otherwise, kind of watch out. El Primo, too much health for the most part, and he does a decent amount of damage in close range. If he gets a super, he will stun you, deal damage to you, and it just will not work out at all. So if he doesn't have super, you can get away with it, maybe. But you really want to just wait for El Primo to be like medium to low health before you're going and spraying on an El Primo. Now, instead of making you screenshot all of those overlays, here's a nice little graphic for you that you can screenshot, share with your friends. Also have a link to it in the description down below if you just want to download it. But go ahead, take a picture of this and use it, share it with your friends. Now, here's a bonus tip before I go over the best game modes and maps for Darryl. That if you use his super on water, can actually extend the length of his super. If his super ends while Darryl is on the water, it's just gonna keep on rolling. So wherever you're going, whatever direction you're going, it's gonna keep on going in that direction until he's no longer on water. So you can actually have a really long super, or at least just extend the length of a super. Can definitely be a useful tactic if you want to surprise people who think that you are not quite within range of them. They think that they're far enough away, but use that water, you can be right there. Now, Darryl's best game mode to push trophies in honestly might be Showdown or Duo Showdown, where he can really use that super that he doesn't even need to attack someone to charge to just keep on surviving, or he can use it to just go after those easy matchups and get more power-ups and get another person killed, and then he has a better placement in whatever he's doing. So Darryl, definitely a really solid pick in Showdown or Duo Showdown. Here are some of the best maps, I think, for Darryl in those modes: Thousand Lakes, Scorched Stone, Skull Creek, and Rock Wall Brawl. You can see me looking over just to make sure I'm saying the right ones. I would put him in the A tier for Showdown or Duo Showdown. He's not like super overpowered in any mode, but in any mode really, but in Showdown, but he's definitely a really solid pick, honestly, in almost any map even. Maybe his second best mode might be Gem Grab, where there's a lot of pretty decent matchups for Darryl where you can really just go after those matchups and just go for kills. He's going to be an A tier for me in Gem Grab. He's definitely not always going to be a top pick, but he's going to be a pretty decent pick every single time, in my opinion, because there's almost always going to be some sort of matchup that he can go after that's going to be a good matchup for Darryl. So some of his best maps for Gem Grab, I think, is going to be Echo Chamber, Deep Seas, Deathcap Cave, and Crystal Cavern. And if you're looking for a really good team for Darryl, I would really recommend playing a team like Poco and Anita. That Poco is going to be your gem carrier, and then Poco, Anita, and Darryl combine really well with Poco because Poco can really use that heal, and it's a really high health team, especially combined with a heal. It's a lot of pressure, can really get you back in games. It's really going to allow you to get control of the gem mine, both with that Darryl that can super forward and with a bear that's going to push people back. So I think that's a really solid team for Gem Grab, especially on some of those maps. Now in Brawl Ball, I think Darryl's going to be like just okay. He's going to be a B tier for me. Definitely usable, definitely solid on some maps, but he's not going to be amazing. Now one really cool trick you can do with Darryl is you can actually pass the ball forward to yourself and then use your super to get just go right past people, pass to yourself, pass it forward, super forward to the ball, and then you can get a quick easy goal potentially that way, or at least super past the enemy and go like behind them and then get a goal. Really nice tactic used with Darryl as a ball carrier, but it's not his best mode. But some really good maps for Darryl in Brawl Ball is going to be like Super Stadium, Pinhole Punt, and Puddle Splash. You can actually use that water effect and have an even longer roll. Some good teams for Darryl in Brawl Ball. I would definitely recommend having some sort of wall breaker for him to really allow him to use that roll ability even better for scoring goals. Someone like a Tara or a Colt or even a Shelly, who can, all of those can also defend pretty well. And then I want to put in some sort of support or really high damage character like a Jessie or a Pam, really good support, or you can put in like a Spike or a Leon as well. Those are also really good support characters. And now in Heist, where I have him in the B tier, and it's going to be in the B tier mostly because he doesn't defend well versus tanks, and he is going to be facing a lot of tanks in Heist. Now he does match up really well versus the other brawlers on the enemy team, usually those long range brawlers, those throwers. He can do really well versus them, which is honestly what makes Darryl viable in Heist. He's going to go after those brawlers, and then he's going to go for safe damage. He doesn't always do a lot of safe damage because he has a slowish reload, but he can still go and deal a good amount of damage, especially go after those matchups and then go for the safe, and you will be in a good position. Some great maps for Darryl in Heist is going to be Fancy Fencing, Safe Zone, and Bandit Stash. As far as team comp, you're going to have a fairly normal team comp with Darryl. He's just going to be replacing your tanks. You're going to have that thrower in Barley or Dynamite, and then you're going to have that long range brawler and someone like Colt or Brock. Now in Bounty, Darryl's going to be pretty good in Bounty. I have him as an A tier, and it's because there's often a lot of brawlers in Bounty that Darryl matches up well against. You don't find many tanks in Bounty. It tends to be a more long range sort of meta depending on the map, but Darryl's not really going to be played on those really close range maps in Bounty. You're going to want to play him on the more long range ones or medium range ones where there are a lot of brawlers that Darryl can match up well against, especially if there's a little bit of grass that can really allow him to surprise them and get in close range a little bit easier, even though he does have that long range super. Maps like Hideout, Crystal Clearing, Deathcap Cave, and Temple Ruins are all going to be good options for Darryl, and you're going to want to pair him with some long range brawlers because Bounty is a long range mode. You're going to want to pair him with like a Piper, really good option. You can also use a Brock or a Penny as well, another solid option. And instead of having you screenshot every single one of those overlays, here is a nice little graphic for you all showing all the best modes for Darryl, how good he is in each one, and the best maps for Darryl in all those modes. If you want to learn how to dominate other game modes just as well as you can now play Darryl, go check out that playlist over there giving you exactly that. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you later.